Good afternoon. A man is fighting for his life in hospital after being stabbed near the city's Junction neighborhood early this morning.
The victim was reportedly found lying in the roadway with stab wounds before being rushed to hospital. CTV's Janice Golding has been following the investigation and joins us live with the latest. Janice.
Hi, Natalie. As you can see, Toronto police are here in the city's West End after a man was found collapsed in the middle of St. Clair in a pool of blood overnight. Now, police tell us that they got the call at around 3:25 a.m. And at first, they didn't know what exactly had happened. Originally, it was thought the victim was a cyclist who'd been hit by a car. But emergency responders quickly ascertained the man had actually been stabbed multiple times. A man in his 50s was transported to hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police are trying to reassure people in the neighborhood, however, saying there is no continued threat to public safety, given a man in his mid-40s was arrested in connection with the incident. Here's more from police and area residents.
At approximately 3:25 this morning, officers responded or received a call about a male lying on the roadway here at St. Clair Avenue West, just east of Runnymede. Initially, it was thought that the male was involved in a collision with a vehicle. However, when officers arrived, they quickly determined that this male, a 55-year-old male, was a victim of a stabbing. He had multiple stab wounds and was transported to a local hospital. The investigation also revealed that a male in his mid-40s is suspected of committing this crime, and he was quickly arrested and is being charged.
In the morning, I saw police is here. After I heard some people say some people use a knife.
No cars were able to leave up and down the street until about half an hour ago.
And what was it like to see all the police here? I mean,
that was kind of odd. I was like, the whole street was blocked for over 5 hours.
And the victim is currently in hospital in critical condition. We will have more for you tonight at 5 and 6. Reporting live, Janice Golding. Now back to Natalie.
Okay, thank you, Janice. And police are investigating a stabbing that happened overnight near Dundas and Palmerston. Paramedics were called to the area around 3:30 a.m. They took one person to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. So far, they have not released any additional information about the victim or possible suspects.
A man is dead following a shooting in Dundas, Ontario, west of Hamilton this weekend. It happened around 5 p.m. yesterday near Governor's Road and Ogilvie Street. Paramedics say a man in his 30s died at the scene. So far, there's been no word on possible suspects. Hamilton police are asking anyone with information to come forward.
A 14-year-old boy charged with murder in the stabbing death of a senior in North York made another court appearance today. 71-year-old Janice Golding was loading groceries into her car in a plaza parking lot near Parkway Forest Drive and Shepherd Avenue on July 17th when she was stabbed. Police believe it began as an attempted robbery. The teen charged in the stabbing, who cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, made his first court appearance last Monday.
A motorcyclist is dead following a major crash in Milton. Halton police say a motorcycle collided with an SUV at Steeles and Bronte Street around 2:45 yesterday afternoon. The 27-year-old man riding the motorcycle died at the scene. No other injuries were reported, and an investigation is ongoing.
A woman is fighting for her life in hospital following a 2-alarm house fire in Brampton. Flames broke out at a home in the area of McVean Drive and Ebenezer Road, just north of Queen Street, shortly after 5:30 p.m. yesterday. Paramedics say a woman was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. A firefighter and another man were also treated for minor injuries. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation.
And York Regional Police have charged a doctor with sexual assault. Police say 62-year-old Saber Abdel Maluka Abdel Malak is facing 2 counts of sexual assault. The charges are in connection with 2 alleged incidents at a medical clinic in Markham. Police say a patient reported being touched in a sexual manner during an appointment at the clinic on July 7th. The same patient also reported a similar incident in 2023, but stated they did not come forward at the time because they thought it might have been part of a legitimate medical procedure. Police say they're concerned there may be more victims.
Sex assault under the criminal code is any non-consensual sexual contact. So the charges here reflect what the investigators believe happened from the statement provided by the victim. As you mentioned, right, 30 years he's been practicing, there is the potential that there would be other victims. being in a position of trust like a doctor, it would be very confusing and difficult, I'm sure, for victims to come forward.
A controversial American musician performed at an Etobicoke church last night. Sean Foyt performed at Catch the Fire Church. There was a police presence at the event, but no indication of any issues. Foyt, who has spoken out against abortion and the LGBTQS+ community, has been described as a rising star in U.S. President Donald Trump's MAGA movement. 6 of his previous Canadian dates were canceled, including a planned show in Vaughan. In response to questions about Foyt's performance, the City of Toronto released this statement. This event was on private property, so a City of Toronto permit would not be necessary, as those are only issued for events on City of Toronto property. City bylaw officers were on site to monitor if there were any noise issues related to the event. The event did not have any noise issues.
Still to come, a Friday deadline is quickly approaching for Canada to reach a new trade deal with the U.S. We'll have the latest on the negotiations a little later in the newscast.
But first, Toronto continues to swelter under a heat warning with humidex values feeling like the low 40s.
Forecast indicates there is little relief in sight, at least until later in the week. CTV Jessica Smith's been speaking to people trying to beat the heat and joins us now live with more. Jess, how are people coping with it? How are you coping with it?
I mean, I'll be honest, I am hot. It is really, really warm outside. The relative humidity is so high, you could almost scoop the air with a spoon, Nathan and Natalie. But this is typical summer weather. We are under a heat warning, as you mentioned, across the GTA and much of southern Ontario. But people are managing as best they can. Now, with those temperatures in the high 30s throughout the day today and the humidex values into the 40s, it is going to be challenging. We have that relative humidity at about 80%, and definitely one of those days where you want to hydrate. Sun protection is key and breaks in the shade. Or you can hit up one of the city-run pools or splash pads or beaches. The high heat has activated the city's heat relief network that provides access to more than 500 cool spaces across the city, including libraries, community centers, splash pads and pools. And right down here near Sunnyside Beach and Pool, it's not too bad. But, you know, there is some relief on the way, but truly we spoke to some people and they're doing the best they can. How would you describe this heat?
Hot as ever. I like it. It's the hottest I've ever felt.
We're doing our best, you know, we're just staying hydrated. Came out here, the sun's fully out, but we got our hats, we got our umbrella, we got our liquids, so we're doing all right.
We're getting through it. That's all I could say. My friend is from Arizona, so I said, like, come up here because it's cooler, but it's probably very close to the same temperature, but we have the extra humidity.
For a full list of the city's cooling centers and for all of the pools and beaches available, you can go to the city's website, toronto.ca. And Environment Canada does warn that if you do feel signs of heat stroke or heat exhaustion, especially heat stroke, to call 911 because it is a very serious medical condition. But as mentioned, the heat not going anywhere anytime soon. But I know Lindsay will have so much more on that. But for now, I'm going to send things back inside and I'm going to go get some cold water.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Jess. Well, let's take a look at the city right now. Here's a live look. And Jessica mentioned there's a heat warning in effect to start the work week. We should be used to this by now. We've had these heat warnings for a few days in a row, so a friendly reminder to take all the necessary precautions. It is a little cooler by the water. Lindsay Morrison's here with a look at the current conditions, and again, another heat warning.
Another day, another heat warning, Nathan. This is actually our 5th heat event of the season so far here in the city of Toronto. You'll notice that not everyone is under this heat warning, but for us in the GTA, very hot temperatures during the daytime hours and at night. We're not finding much relief when it comes time for sleeping. Look at that. We are already at 30 degrees here in the city. It feels like 36. Winds today are coming out of the south. So yes, you might find a little bit of relief by the water, but areas inland, it's a scorcher yet again. All is clear on the satellite and radar. It is a wall-to-wall sunshine kind of day. There's your afternoon at a glance. 33 degrees for the high. Will feel like 41 at the height of the day. And we are not only in for some heat, especially for the first half of this week, but we're in for a pretty dry stretch as well, with an exception. So coming up, I'll show you when we do have some wet weather in the forecast, and then beyond that, how long the dry spell is expected to last. For now, though, Natalie, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The federal government is making an investment aimed at getting more rental housing built in Toronto.
This is all happening as we try from Ottawa to create an entirely new housing industry. Our goal will double the rate of home building in Canada with an industry that prioritizes Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, and Canadian lumber.
Housing Minister Gregor Robertson visited the site of a development on Bathurst near Lawrence today. It will be the site of a 9-story building with 159 new rental units. Ottawa is providing $81.5 million to support the project through the Apartment Construction Loan Program, which aims to encourage companies to build rental housing. The investment comes as the federal government looks to accelerate the speed and scale of home construction through its national housing strategy. Construction of the development on Bathurst is expected to be complete by the fall of 2027. Premier Doug Ford and Labour Minister David Piccini provided an update this morning on the ongoing Canada-U.S. trade talks,
including their potential impact on Ontario. For more, we're joined live with CP24's Beatrice Vaisman at Queen's Park. Beatrice.
Nathan, Natalie, good morning. The Premier today talking about the fact that he really hopes that Canada can avoid a deal with the United States that includes baseline tariffs. But we've already seen that happen when it comes to the U.S. deals with other nations, including the EU, the U.K., Japan, Vietnam. The Premier, though, saying he hopes that the United States will treat its #1 customer in terms of buying products and industries from the United States differently than it treats other customers like Japan and Vietnam, for example. Certainly, Canadians will know by the start of the long weekend if various industries are going to be under this 35% blanket tariff on all Canadian exports to the United States. We already know the steel and aluminum industries, along with the automotive sectors, deeply impacted by these tariffs. Last week, the premiers from coast to coast to coast met with Prime Minister Mark Carney, where they talked about what the future looks like and what the negotiations look like. The Prime Minister, even this morning, saying he's looking not just for any deal, but a deal that's fair for Canadians. The Premier today talking about the fact that he has trouble trusting the U.S. President because the message in the media changes on a daily basis. And we heard last week from the U.S. President, he said he wasn't focused on reaching a deal with Canada. Certainly that does not sit well nor bode well for Canadians, and it doesn't sit well with the Premier either. Here's what we heard from Premier Ford.
Well, I'm never confident with President Trump. I'm confident with Prime Minister Carney. I know he's going to do his very best to get a deal, but I don't trust President Trump. He'll say one thing one day and say something else and then in the news the next day. We want a fair and free trade. But if he wants to attack our steel industry, our aluminum industry, other industries, we need to hit him back.
So the Premier has long talked about kind of a tit-for-tat approach. If the U.S. imposes levies on Canadian products, that he believes that Canada should retaliate by doing the exact same thing. Certainly we know tariffs on copper are the next item on the agenda. But again, Friday, this 35% blanket tariff on exports will kick in if a deal is not reached. Nathan and Natalie, we know that the minister responsible for inking this deal, Dominic LeBlanc, heading to Washington this week, along with the Canadian ambassador to the United States, who essentially tasked with coming together with the Americans and finding a resolution. Certainly workers across the country holding their breath, waiting to see what happens by the August 1st deadline.
That is the hope. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman, thank you. A backlog of tens of thousands of complaints from air passengers is piling up at the Canadian Transportation Agency.
As CTV's Sweta Rossi reports, one advocate says the system is failing passengers.
From delays and cancellations to compensation disputes, the Canadian Transportation Agency, also known as the CTA, is drowning in complaints.
It is going to take them more than 2 years to deal with just the current backlog.
In a statement, the CTA told CTV News it has a backlog of 85,000 complaints from air passengers since the Complaints Resolution Office launched in 2023, a number that continues to grow. The founder of Air Passenger Rights says the agency's method of dealing with grievances is complicated, ultimately failing passengers.
In Canada, they have this system where the airline will say, well, it's outside our control, so we don't have to pay you anything.
Gabor Lukács says from the airline's perspective, it's easier and more profitable to refuse to pay and instead tell passengers to file a complaint through the CTA.
So the Canadian Transportation Agency has the power to fine airlines that don't obey the law, but they're not using those powers.
The CTA says it's proposing charging airlines nearly $800 for each eligible complaint. But for some airlines, the proposal is not welcomed. Air Canada told CTV News charging that amount would not be balanced nor an equitable way of addressing the issue. And WestJet says the punitive proposal reflects a troubling disconnect between the agency and the realities of Canada's economy and aviation sector. It adds the agency's priority should be dealing with improving its administration and reduce wait times. However, the CTA says during 2024-2025, its first full fiscal year, the CRO closed over 33,600 complaints, more than ever before. It did not say how many cases were resolved in favor of the passengers. As for Lukács, he says he's taking the CTA to court due to the agency's lack of transparency.
It's not only that it takes more than 2 years and they have a huge backlog, they're also trying to gag passengers who have a case before them.
In the meantime, he says if passengers have complaints against airlines, heading over to small claims courts is the better option. CTV News reached out to Canada's Ministry of Transportation for comment on Sunday, but we did not hear back in time for broadcast. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
Air Canada flight attendants have begun voting today on a possible strike. Contract talks with the airline have stalled, with pay, per diems and pensions among the major sticking points for the union. Air Canada says it is committed to the bargaining process and that a strike would not be able to take place before a 21-day cooling off period. Voting will run through next Tuesday.
The United States and European Union reached a trade agreement yesterday, while Canada still faces the possibility of new 35% tariffs if a deal is not reached with the U.S. by Friday.
I think you were saying this is probably the biggest deal ever reached in any capacity, trade or beyond trade.
It is.
It's a giant deal with lots of countries.
Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the agreement in Scotland yesterday. The framework will see the U.S. impose a 15% tariff on most European goods, half the rate Trump was threatening to impose. The agreement still needs to be approved by all 27 members of the European Union. The 15% tariff rate will apply to the majority of EU goods coming into the U.S., including cars. There are some exceptions, including aircraft, as well as steel and aluminum tariffs being removed and certain quotas being put in place. The EU is also purchasing $750 billion in U.S. energy and increasing overall investment in the U.S. by $600 billion. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mark Carney commented on Canada's ongoing talks with the U.S.
We're engaged in them, but the assurance for Canadian business, for Canadians, is we will only sign a deal that's the right deal, that's a good deal for Canada. We're representing Canada. We're standing up for Canada. The United States and Canada can do many good things together. We have done that in the past. We can do more in the future, but on fair terms for our country.
And for more on the trade talks, we're joined live by CTV's Colton Prail in Ottawa. Colton, how's the world reacting to the deal between the U.S. and the EU?
Yeah, it's really set the baseline, Nathan, for what it is that the U.S. administration is expecting from these trade deals. And we even heard it today, Donald Trump speaking this morning again in Scotland, where he said 15 to 20% is what he expects the baseline tariff to be. He was asked, is it 15 or 20? He said no, somewhere in between those two numbers. But then again, one of those two numbers. It was a very awkward answer, but what we're seeing is a reframing of what Donald Trump is saying this global baseline is going to look like. That's increased from the 10% baseline he originally announced on Liberation Day, April 2nd. So this is a move forward from where things stood originally. On top of that, though, we're seeing frequently in these deals a lack of detail, but also sectoral tariffs continuing to apply, or no exemptions for sectoral tariffs. So you brought up steel and aluminum, for example. The EU has said those export tariffs or export quotas will come into play. We don't know what they'll be. We don't know how high they'll be or when they're coming in. But until then, they're still facing that 50% tariff on steel and aluminum. There's still a tariff on lumber. There potentially could be another sectoral tariff on copper. There's still a tariff on autos. All of these sectoral tariffs that have been put in place by the American administration remain in place in deals signed with the EU and deals signed with Japan and others. And if you're Canada, that's a concern, because while most goods are protected under the CUSMA or the USMCA exemption, the sectors that are being hit hardest by our trade dispute with America are the sectors being hit by sectoral tariffs. That's steel and aluminum, it's autos, it's lumber, it's copper. These are the things that are really draining the Canadian economy. And economists and trade policy experts are warning that if Canada was to sign a deal similar to those signed by Japan or by the EU and didn't have assurances for protections for those sectors, it may not necessarily end well. Here's Stuart True. Have a listen.
We certainly couldn't live with 15% on automotive goods, which is the key point here in the European deal and the Japanese deal. That's fine for them, right? They export, both countries, a lot of vehicles to the United States. So does Canada. But a lot of the stuff that we export is also made in the United States.
And that's the real concern, is that there could be this offshoring of production to the U.S., companies like Ford, for example, taking plants out of Oakville, putting them in Michigan. That's not as much of a concern for companies like Mercedes-Benz or Toyota and their trade deals. And so this is part of what exists as the challenge for the Canadian government. We heard today Mark Carney say that he does believe a landing zone, as he put it, is possible. It's just about determining where and what that is. We know the Minister for U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, was in Washington last week. He's heading back to Washington this week to continue meetings that sources told us were fairly progressive with senior U.S. officials. So we'll see where things land, but there is certainly no rush from either side at this point in time to get something done, or at least no public notice of a rush to get something done before that Friday deadline, where we could see the 35% tariffs incoming.
All right, CTV's Colton Prell with the very latest on trade negotiations. Thank you.
Anytime.
Meanwhile, CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says he is not optimistic Ottawa and Washington will reach a deal before the deadline.
There doesn't feel like there's much momentum. I mean, obviously, we saw President Trump is in Europe. He secured the deal with the EU. He's had some deals with Asia. He himself said it's simply not his priority at this time. He wants to focus on those jurisdictions. He has leverage in terms of the talks with Canada because he is securing deals with others, insofar as he doesn't need a deal with us, his largest trading partner, because he is securing large scale trading deals. So I wouldn't bet an American or a Canadian dollar that we will see a cold, hard deal that suits our interests by August 1st.
Federal Industry Minister Mélanie Joly was in Sault Ste. Marie this morning to visit workers at the Algoma steel mill. The U.S. has already imposed a 50% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced measures to bolster the country's steel industry by restricting and reducing foreign imports. The ongoing trade war is putting a spotlight on a remote port in northern Manitoba.
As CTV's Alex Carper tells us, the port of Churchill could soon be a strategic asset for Canada.
The port of Churchill, nestled along the shores of Hudson Bay in northern Manitoba, has become an important piece of the puzzle as the Canada-U.S. trade war rages on, and expanding it has a new sense of urgency.
We're building infrastructure, trade-enabling infrastructure for the future.
The port has a brief operating window each summer and is currently Canada's only Arctic seaport serviced by rail, and it's the shortest link from the prairies to the Atlantic Ocean, offering access to Europe and destinations around the world.
Building this trade-enabling infrastructure will further enable the vast resources we have in Western Canada out to global markets.
Last week, Manitoba and Saskatchewan signed an agreement with Arctic Gateway Group, which owns and operates the port, to upgrade infrastructure and modernize supply chains.
With the ice breaking and with properly built ships to withstand the ice, we could operate 12 months a year.
Barry Prentice says there's a lot of economic opportunity for Saskatchewan and Alberta to move products through the Hudson Bay.
You want to move bulk products, especially those that are somewhat storable. And potash fits in that category, as do minerals, petrochemicals, and even that matter, I suppose, some lumber.
All the talk about breathing new life into the Arctic comes as welcome news for those living in the north.
It's good for the country because it's another outlet of being able to ship, and kind of helps, with some of these bottlenecks that you kind of see logistically across the country.
In recent years, the federal and provincial governments have invested millions of dollars into the rail line and the port in Churchill to build up a trade route through the Arctic so Canadian products can reach markets globally. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he is getting set for a new deadline for Russia to end its war with Ukraine, while also expressing his disappointment with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
Earlier this month, Trump had set a 50-day deadline for a deal to be reached. He has repeatedly expressed frustration with Putin for continuing his attacks on Ukraine. Trump is now threatening to impose secondary sanctions if no deal is reached with Russia.
The United Nations is hosting a high-level ministerial meeting on Gaza. It comes after Israel stated it will halt military operations for 10 hours a day in 3 parts of the enclave. However, the country's defense minister issued a warning to Hamas. Israel's defense minister claimed the gates of hell will open in Gaza if Hamas does not release the remaining hostages in custody. Health officials in Gaza say at least 25 people were killed in 2 overnight airstrikes on homes in Khan Yunis, located in southern Gaza. Israel says it will pause military action from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. in 3 parts of the enclave as it faces growing international criticism over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. And health officials in Gaza say dozens of residents have died of malnutrition in recent weeks. Last week, a group of 25 countries, including Canada, condemned the lack of aid getting into the area, saying Israel's denial of aid was unacceptable. Israel denied those claims, blaming Hamas for stealing aid packages.
Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to a ceasefire after 5 days of clashes along their shared border.
This is a vital first step towards a de-escalation and the restoration of peace and security.
Officials from both countries will meet to further de-escalate tensions at the border, with Malaysia acting as an intermediary. The countries will work to develop a detailed plan to maintain peace.
Well, it has been a hot summer in the city, and now as we head into this final week of July and first week of August, statistically, this is the hottest point of the entire season. So far in July, our average temperature in Toronto has been about 29 degrees. Today, we're forecasting a high of 33, feeling like 41. It's going to be hot again tomorrow, but then interestingly enough, midweek and certainly by the end of this week, we get a bit of relief from the heat. We're talking seasonal or slightly below seasonal temperatures, and it's also going to be quite dry heading into the long weekend. Stay with us. We will take a detailed look at your 7-day forecast after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Okay, we saw Jessica Smith down at the beach earlier, and even she was saying it was really hot out there. So, you know, we're in the air conditioning right now. We can't complain.
I know, it's easy for us, but I will say by the water is a great idea. Maybe if you can, head to a patio, because while it is hot, if you can find ways to cool down, you can enjoy it.
For sure. Great tips there, and it's true. When a weather person says it's feeling hot out there, you know to take it seriously. And through this afternoon, yeah, not only will it feel hot, it's going to be feeling very humid, feeling into the 40s once again. Tomorrow, maybe not quite as bad, but still heat warning criteria. Then we're going to get a little bit of a break. It's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable out there by the second half of this week. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. Here's another tip during weather like this. I suggest if you want to spend some time outside, you maybe do it early in the morning. And that's what these fine folks were doing out on Lake Ontario, a little stand-up paddleboarding. This was around 8 a.m. You can see that the water was pretty calm and the sun was shining. I also want to mention, however, that there is a bit of concern about some haze, some wildfire smoke drifting back into southern Ontario for today. Here's what that looks like on our drifting smoke map. But it's really just through the early part of this week. Less of a concern as the week goes on, and heading into the long weekend, we are anticipating sunny skies. So that's your tease. Stay tuned for the 7-day forecast. Air quality health index today, we're at about a 5 here in the city of Toronto. So that is moderate risk. Not as bad as it was 2 weeks ago, but just worth mentioning. A little bit of concern there. We are already at 30 degrees, feeling like 36 in Toronto. It feels like 41 already at this hour in Windsor, Ontario. I say already because we still have hours of daytime heating to come, and these temperatures and humidex values are expected expected to go up. Seasonal norm is 27 degrees. As mentioned, we've been at least 2 degrees warmer than that all month long as far as a median temperature is concerned here in Toronto. Yesterday's high was 32 degrees. The record to beat today is 34.4. So we could come close. There's the heat warning. You can see how widespread it is, especially north of Lake Erie, north of Lake Ontario, and then in through some northern sections of Ontario. There's your patio forecast for tonight. It is going to be dry. It's going to be one of those very hot summer nights where, as you can see, the temperature remains in the 30s right through the early to mid evening. And then overnight tonight, we drop to a low, depending on where you are in the GTA, could be about 22 to 24 degrees. Very uncomfortable for sleeping. So make sure you're doing what you have to do to keep yourself cool. There's tomorrow, another sunny day. Not quite as hot as today, but still muggy, still hot, still above seasonal. Satellite and radar, not much to show you here. What I do want to point out is the fact that we could get a few showers into the day on Wednesday. Here's what that looks like on the forecast radar. Southwest Ontario, slight risk later on today. Here's a look at Wednesday, 2 p.m. and then into Thursday. Chance of showers as well. Very quick look at your 7-day forecast. Look at that relief from the heat. Hey, we welcome August on Friday with a high of only 25 degrees. Natalie, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Canadian swimming superstar Summer McIntosh has won her second gold at the World Aquatic Championships in Singapore.
And Summer McIntosh is going to win it and win it very, very well. It's Walsh in second place. McIntosh takes another gold medal for Canada.
The 18-year-old Toronto native won the 200-meter individual medley. She finished about a second slower than her own world record, which was set at the Canadian trials earlier this year. McIntosh has already won gold in the 400-meter freestyle and is trying to win 5 golds at the World Aquatic Championships. Michael Phelps is the only person who has accomplished that feat.
The Blue Jays will look to get back into the win column when they begin a series with the Baltimore Orioles tonight.
Fastball hit to right center, hit well, and it's gone.
The Jays wrapped up a 4-game series with the Detroit Tigers yesterday afternoon. The Tigers scored early and often on their way to a 10-4 win. That prevented Toronto from sweeping the series. First pitch for tonight's game in Baltimore is set for just after 6:30 tonight.
Still to come this hour, the Bank of Canada will announce its interest rate decision on Wednesday. We'll have a preview when we come back.
Wildfires in Saskatchewan have burned more than 1 million hectares in the north.
Hundreds of structures have already been lost, including cabins and entire trap lines. CTV's Allison Bamford has more on the impact of the historic profession.
This is Don Gordon's paradise, a plot of land where he's been trapping animals in Saskatchewan's boreal forest for 30 years.
You get to see nature at its best and the hardships that go with it. All the roots are burnt.
And he's seen his fair share.
It burnt the material right up against it.
A couple months ago, the threat of wildfires stopped just meters from his front door.
I didn't expect to come here to this. I came here expecting a pile of tin.
Dozens of trap lines and several cabins across the north have been completely wiped out, many not insured due to the location and affordability. Provincial assistance is available for some uninsurable losses, but trapper cabins are insurable, therefore not eligible, according to Saskatchewan's Public Safety Agency. First Nations chiefs want the province to change that.
Trapping is what built Canada. Trapping industry, and there has to be, I said many times, there has to be support in this industry.
Saskatchewan's Public Safety Agency told us it will continue to review its programs and look at ways to better support the needs of the North in the future. Gordon counts himself lucky that he has a cabin to go back to, but he doesn't know how much of his trapping area actually burned or what it will mean for the animals.
There's going to be a lot of individuals that don't even go back. The land species, if it's totally burnt, there won't be anything this winter to trap.
It could take years to draw some species back into the burned areas. Some individual trappers might not survive this, but the industry will.
As long as there's product being provided and there's a market to buy the product, trapping, it'll remain.
A passion for him that will continue burning long after the fires. Allison Bamford, CTV News, near Torch River, Saskatchewan.
Scorching conditions are taking a toll right across the country.
Even coastal communities in Newfoundland, where heat is not normally an issue, are dealing with problems. CTV's Garrett Berry explains.
Between the goats, the turkeys, the ducks, and the bees, Steve McBride has a big and growing family.
I've got over 1 million mouths to feed and water over the course of the day on any given day.
Lately, it's been looking like this. Daily trips to a nearby pond to fill up these 5-gallon buckets of water, one at a time.
We've been here on the homestead, pretty much off the grid for 12 years now, and I've never seen anything like this, not even close.
That's how dry it has been this summer in Newfoundland. About half of the normal amount of rain has fallen in this region. Moderate drought conditions, according to Agriculture Canada, here mere meters away from the Atlantic Ocean.
It hasn't rained. We've only got trace amounts of rain, and it's really starting to stack. The well's gone dry, vegetation is starting to dry up, and it's looking a little grim, actually.
It doesn't help that the animals are parched, slurping up these buckets way faster than normal.
This grazing field in St. John's is looking pretty yellow and pretty short, and that's making it just a little bit more complicated to feed all these animals.
Because we don't have any irrigation on this now, I would think that I'll probably have to start feeding them the winter's hay, pretty soon.
That could be expensive for farmer Jim Lester. When he's done it before, it's because the grass was too wet, not too dry.
You'll see a lot of fellows having to bring their cattle and their sheep home from the community pastures, whereas normally we can leave them out till the 1st of December or at least the end of October.
There's no easy solution to these problems. Lester expects come this fall, he'll have to sell some animals or buy more feed. There's one option that everybody agrees on: hope for rain, and lots of it. Garrett Berry, CTV News in Mobile, Newfoundland and Labrador.
The Bank of Canada will announce its interest rate decision on Wednesday. Economists polled by Reuters expect the central bank will hold its benchmark rate steady at 2.75%. Those experts made that prediction, citing a recent rise in inflation and slight decline in unemployment. Analysts have also pointed to a lack of clarity around the impact of U.S. tariffs, particularly amid ongoing trade talks. Also on Wednesday, the U.S. Federal Reserve will be announcing its decision on interest rates. Markets expect the central bank will also hold U.S. interest rates steady at 4.25 to 4.5%. That would go against calls from President Donald Trump, who's been pushing Fed Chair Jerome Powell to cut rates. However, officials have signaled they want to see the impact of U.S. tariffs before easing rates any further.
Still to come on CTV News at noon, local brewers are hoping to benefit from the reduction of interprovincial trade barriers. We'll have more on the effort to grow the industry nationwide when we come back.
Efforts to boost interprovincial trade have shifted into high gear as provinces and territories look to limit the potential impact of U.S. tariffs.
Some businesses are expecting big boosts as barriers come down, while others are expecting new challenges. CTV's Maria Saru has more on the concerns of local brewers.
Pouring into new markets and the cups of millions of new customers is on the table. But for some producers, the trouble of moving beer across borders outweighs the benefits, says Lone Oak Brewing's co-owner.
It's probably not something that we would look to offer in the near future based on the logistical challenges and the costs of shipping.
Beer is heavy. Shipping in bulk is pricey, and ideally it should be kept cold. For small producers, these are bigger problems. If transport companies can cut costs and keep kegs cool, that'll help. But otherwise, direct-to-consumer alcohol sales is not a game changer, says the Canadian Craft Brewers Association.
I don't think that it's going to be a huge kind of market opportunity for us.
Even if the freight is figured out, every province plays by different tax rules, running their own regulatory boards. That's another challenge that could shrink profits if a standardized structure isn't put in place.
This is a symbolic move in trade more than anything else. I don't think alcohol is the top issue in Canada these days.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses Atlantic Director adds, if the red tape can be reduced, Canada can create solutions for other industries in the face of Trump's trade war. PEI's finance minister told CTV News in an email statement, there are many administrative details to work out and a lot of complexities involved in changing regulated spaces. But she's optimistic about meeting the May 2026 deadline. For now, the beer at Lone Oak stays local as the rules get a sober review. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Fans of Ozzy Osbourne have been streaming his hits in the days following his death, which has sent one of his albums rocketing up the charts. The heavy metal icon's 2003 compilation, The Essential Ozzy Osbourne, has hit number 7 on the Billboard Top 100. That marks his 10th album to reach the top 10. Osbourne, who had been battling Parkinson's disease, died last week at the age of 76.
A Ukrainian refugee who fled Russia's invasion in 2022 is celebrating the success of a new dance studio she's opened in Ottawa.
The studio had a soft launch late last year and is set to have its grand opening in a few weeks' time. CTV's Natalie Van Roy reports.
For Anastasia Kolakova, this dance studio is a dream come true. The Ukrainian refugee fled her war-torn country about 3 years ago.
I came here, I had only $100, and I was like, oh my God, what I have to do? And I have son 3 years old. I tap dance in Ukraine for 11 years, and I was like, okay, maybe I can try to start to run dance classes.
After arriving in Ottawa, Kolakova started offering dance classes, a safe space for other like-minded women.
I was basically living on the mode of survival, to pay rent, to eat something, to work, to send money back to Ukraine to my family. And then I found the space, and it actually, it brought me back to life.
After offering classes for months in other spaces, Kolakova opened this new studio in the Centertown neighborhood. It's called Lady Space. The classes meant to boost confidence.
We usually wear high heels, but it's optional, of course. The most important goal is to come here and enjoy our body.
People from all backgrounds come here for different reasons, like Nora Lacasse putting in work before a competition.
To prep for my walk, as you know, in pageantry, you're walking in big heels, and it's very important you master that walk, but also to empower myself and my confidence.
With classes held here nearly every day, Kolakova is hoping to expand her work to other cities like Toronto and Montreal. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
Still to come, getting down and dirty for a good cause. We'll have more on Ottawa's annual Mud Girl Run when we come back. Women of all ages and abilities took part in the annual Mud Girl Run in Ottawa this weekend.
The obstacle course saw participants get down and dirty in support of a good cause. CTV's Camille Wilson reports.
A mother and daughter date spent rolling in the mud and on slippery slopes Sunday at the Mud Girl Run.
My mom's done it before, and I've always wanted to do it with her, so this is our second year doing it together.
A 5-kilometer walk or run, 18-plus obstacles, and thousands of women ranging from 7 to 78 years old, facing muddy obstacles, tight ropes, and slides, showing off their strength, ability, and resilience.
I'm doing this with my daughter and our girlfriends and their daughters just to show them that they are stronger than they give themselves credit for.
Good vibes, smiles, and women of all fitness levels encouraging and supporting one another, testing their limits and discovering their full potential. It may be Armstrong's 4th year, but it doesn't get easier.
The least favorite? Probably crawling under a rope net.
Yeah, probably that one too. I feel like my favorite will probably be the slide. We haven't done it yet, but it looks really fun, so I'm excited to do it.
The event empowering women through sport and helping one another, but also here for a notable cause, the fight against breast cancer, to amplify awareness, bring research, and extend support to patients and survivors.
We both have a family friend who has breast cancer and's been fighting it, so for her.
If you slip, then you'll slide, and giving each other a little push or a pull. Mudslides, mud pits, just a muddy mess with no time limit.
We decided to create one only for women, like that they don't feel like judged, or it's not competition or anything. It's just gathering people, doing something fun, something empowering.
Some doing it for the cause, while others are using it as a good skin exfoliant.
Just enjoying this spa treatment.
After the mud, the sweat, and bruises, a medal of achievement waits at the finish line.
We love doing it, and so proud of everyone who's here and doing it.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it's like doing that in the extreme heat, but they seemed okay.
Yeah, the mud might actually cool you down in that case.
I was thinking the same, actually, and not a bad option on a day like today. Yes, we're becoming very used to this summer, but I do want to remind you of some things you can do to maybe beat the heat today, because it is a hot one. So if you're just going to be venturing out this afternoon, you'll want to consider loosely fitting clothing, maybe make sure you're bringing a water bottle with you, and make sure that you have a cool place to go. A reminder, if you don't have access to air conditioning at your home, you'll be able to find it at community centers, shopping malls, and movie theaters, for example. Overnight tonight, this is very warm for a low 24 degrees, still feeling like 32 even at the coolest point of the night. And then tomorrow, the temperature itself is going to be a little bit cooler than today. So too is the humidex value, but still heat warning criteria in many different parts of the GTA. Here's your 7-day forecast. So chance of showers into Wednesday. Look at that run of sun, though, into the long weekend. Good for outdoor plans, not great for your lawn. Nathan and Natalie.
All right, good to know. Thank you, Lindsay. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. I'm Natalie Johnson.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.